Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have Pink and Main's August card kit, and I'm going to be creating 5 cards with this one. This kit is called Squeeze the Day. I just love fruit images. There's just something so cute about them. But let's take a peek at what this kit includes. It always comes in this beautiful bright pink box. It just makes your day to see it. And a beautiful zippered pouch full of all the goodies. So let me pull this out. There's a lot of bling included this time. So you get mini tassels, fruit-shaped shaker elements, yellow sequins, and rhinestones. Super fun and cute little things. You get a little bottle of pink Wow embossing powder. The 6x6 paper pad in this month's kit is just darling. I love every single one of them. I'll open this up and kind of flip through them for you. They're so bright and cheery. I just love them. There's a cute plaid. Polka dots are always fabulous, and stripes. They're all just great. I used a lot, and I have a lot left over. It's nice that they give you a whole pad. You get 2 of each pattern. And it has a very nice weight to it. You always get a few envelopes. You get a little pack of solid and striped hot pink twine and a button. And then here is the stamp set. This is fun because it has the outlines as well as the inner stamps, the solid stamps. So if you don't feel like coloring, you can just stamp them in with ink. Now let me flip through all of the beautiful cardstock that came in the kit. You get 2 of the white, and I use those mostly for my card bases. And then all of these bright, fun colors, as well as a sheet of acetate to make some shaker cards. So that is everything in this month's kit. So I wanted to try out stamping in my images with the solid stamp. And I went for the strawberry first. I really love strawberry images. So I'm going to stamp out the outline of the strawberry first. And I'm going to be making up a bunch of these. So I'm going to flip my paper and just keep stamping. I'm using some black dye ink from Simon Says Stamp. Next up is the solid stamp, and I picked out a hot pink ink for this. I love coloring in stamps, but sometimes it's just fun to have the stamp to color it in for you. So cute. They're very easy to line up. I'm going to be stamping some of them with red ink. I just wanted my berries to have a little bit of variation. And now I can stamp out the stem. It comes with all of the pieces to it. I pulled out my lily pad green dye ink from Ranger to do this. And then I can just keep turning the card because the stamp is in position. And just quickly stamp those out. This is where it's nice to have a stamp positioner. I chose the piece of plaid pattern paper. I just love this one with the oranges and the lime greens and the pinks. And I'm going to attach a frame right in the middle. I did pop that up with a little bit of foam tape. And now I can just start adhering all of these strawberries. I did go ahead and fussy cut them out off screen. I tried to limit myself to use just the products that came in the kit, But I thought these strawberries would look so darling in a little basket die cut or stamp. The sentiment says the very best. Thought that was so cute. I stamped it onto a piece of white cardstock, and then I die cut it using one of the dies from the kit. I propped that up with a bit of foam tape too. Just wanted to get that into position so that I can continue adding all of the little berries. Some of them I am gluing flat onto the cardstock. I'm just trying to overlap these and make them fit within this frame. I cut my patterned paper down to 5 1/4 by 4 so that I could have the white of the card base peeking out. It just adds a nice extra layer to your cards. I really like doing that. And then I'm going to add just a few of the gems. And that finishes off the first card. On the inside, I used another berry as well as a piece of the pattern paper. Card number 2 is going to be rather simple. I already stamped out the lemon stamp with some yellow ink. And now I am using the outline stamp on it. It also comes with a little stamp so you can ink up the leaf on this lemon. I have to keep snugging my paper up into the corner because the stamps just pull it up. I'm using more of my lily pad green ink for this. It didn't stamp out dark enough, so I'm just using a little bit of colored pencils over it. And I love lemons with a little bit of pink to them, reminiscent of pink lemonade. So I just added a bit of pink. I even put a little bit of pink on the leaf. I'm going to fussy cut this out. This pattern paper is one of my favorites. I just love the blue. And I'm going to cut that out with a rounded corner faux stitch die. This card is just going to have the lemon on it, just the one piece. And I'm using some of the orange cardstock for a card base. The sentiment I'm going to stamp onto a piece of black cardstock. And I'm going to heat emboss that with some white embossing powder. I really love this sentiment. It says, "Squeeze the day." I'm a lemon person. I love to put lemon in my waters and all of my different drinks. And then I can just pour over the white embossing powder and heat set that. This is my new Wagner heat tool I just purchased. And I am loving this tool. It really is a game changer. I heard that it was, but I didn't believe it until I actually tried it. But it melts the embossing powder so fast. It's powerful. Just love it. I let it heat up for a minute, and then I can bring it to the paper. Super fast. I just cut that into a strip. I'm going to use my scissors to cut a fishtail out of one side. I'm using my long scissors. I should have grabbed my shorter ones, but I was too lazy at the moment. There. And then I can go ahead and start adhering things to my card. I'm using dot liner behind the blue cardstock. For a bit of fun, I'm going to use a mini action wobbler behind the lemon. I haven't used one of these in a long time, and I adhered that in the center of my pattern paper where all of the stripes meet. I put a piece of foam tape behind my sentiment. And then I can press the action wobbler onto the card. A few little black enamel dots from my own stash, And this card is complete. And here it is in action. Just love it. I put another strip of paper on the inside of the card. My next card has to be my favorite of the set that I made. I'm going to stamp these different fruit outlines onto a piece of Desert Storm cardstock. And I'm going to be doing a bit of masking. The apple's going to be out in front, so I stamped that first. And this is a full coverage sticky note that I'm using. I'm fussy cutting it right on the line, the stamped line. I'm using my craft pick to pull off the release paper. It's really on there strong. I'll cover up my apple. Now I can move on to more stamping. So the orange slice is going to be next. And I am using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink for this. And I'm also stamping the lemon at the same time, just to save time. I don't need a mask for the lemon, but I do make one for the orange slice. And that one was really easy to fussy cut out. I'm going to use all of them. So next is the strawberry. I try to put my stamps right back onto the acetate, or else I tend to lose them. So I haven't cleaned them yet, but I do that at the end. Here is the mask for the strawberry. And I'm going to position the watermelon just kind of behind the strawberry. You don't see much of it, but it does look cute behind it. I'm inking it up a few times, and then this panel is ready to color in. Now let's see how this masking turned out. I'm going to pull off all of the masks and save them on the back of the packaging in case I want to use them again. And I think that looks so cute. I love this little row of fruit. There were a few lines that I didn't stamp completely, so I'm using a Copic multiliner to draw those in. I'm using my Polychromos colored pencils to color these in. However, that white pencil you saw me use is a Caran d'Ache colored pencil. It's a nice bright white, and I love using that one instead of the Polychromos white. So I'm speeding this up just to save a little bit of time. But I had a lot of fun coloring these in. I'm trying to keep white highlights on all of these images. So I put the white pencil down first. And then out comes a little more of the pink colored pencil for the lemon and a little bit of purple for the shadows. This fruit slice could either be an orange or another lemon, but I wanted mine to be an orange. I really love coloring on craft cardstock. It's one of my favorite techniques to do. And the strawberry is going to be a little more red, kind of an orangey poppy red. I'm using its complementary color to add shadows. And then my watermelon is going to be more pink, pinky orange. I'm using a light green and a dark green on the watermelon rind. And then I come in with the oranges again and darken my little orange. It just looked too pale. I do come in with a white gel pen later on to add more highlights to the different pieces of fruit, especially on the fruit part of the orange. That really does add a lot. So I'm using another piece of the plaid cardstock behind my main panel. But I decided to use my corner chomper to round the edges of this panel. And this is the 1/4 inch side. That way you can see a little bit more of the beautiful pink cardstock behind it. I should have just used the whole strip, would have saved a lot of time, but I loved this paper and I wanted to save as much of it as I could. So I'm just trying to make the ends so that they're even on both sides, and then I can save the middle piece. I'm going to use some of the pink and white twine to tie a bow under the fruit. This will ground the fruit because I didn't color anything beneath them. And I'm holding that in place with a little bit of score tape and a little bit of dot liner. Now I can go ahead and tie my bow. As you can see, I used one of the cute little tassels that came in this card kit. And I'm just using my reverse tweezers to hold that in place for me so I can tighten the knot. And then I can fuss with the bow a little bit. And then trim off the ends of the bow. The sentiment says, "So sweet of you." And I just stamped that onto the greenish yellow cardstock from this kit. And I'm using another piece of pattern paper behind it. And then I can cut off the excess with my scissors. There. And here's where I come in with the white Jelly Roll pen, just to add a little more detail to this orange. I'm just drawing tiny little lines on the fruit and on the strawberry and watermelon. And that finishes off this card. The more I play with this stamp set, the more I just love it. It's so fun. On my next card, I pulled out my little ink cubes of Distress ink. I haven't used these for ages, and I forgot how much fun they are to use. So I'm using my aqua brush to add a little bit of water, and I'm also using a Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper. I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercolor smushing, and I decided I wasn't very good at it. Something I'm going to need to practice more at, but it was fun to do. This is one of those cards that just keeps evolving until I get it to a place where I like it, because it just wasn't turning out well at all as I went through this paper smushing. Or it's not even called paper smushing, is it? It's called watercolor smushing or ink smushing. But I just want my main colors to be yellow, green, and pink. And so I'm even flicking on some of the colors. So I let this panel dry, and this is where I decide to change directions. I'm going to stamp out my lemons and my little orange. I loved the look of the Distress ink, but I want it to be a little more colorful. So I'm using some orange and my aqua brush again, and I'm just going to do a little bit of painting on these pieces of fruit, just to brighten them up a little bit. I'm drying that with my heat gun. And then I can start on my background for these lemons and oranges. And I start by doing some paper flicking, but that wasn't dark enough for me, so I add some paint with the brush. And it just wasn't dark, so I'm going with the darker green. This just keeps evolving here. And now I'm using my blending tool just to add inks directly onto this piece of watercolor distress ink paper. I'm going to flick on some clean water just because this is distress ink and it's a fun technique to do. And then I blot it up and you have all of this cute distressing on your paper. but I wanted a little more pink on it. So I'm going to try and flick some pink right off my acrylic block. I even paint some in. Okay, then I cut this down with one of my faux stitch dies. And now I can assemble my card. Ignore the fruit pieces that I stamped and colored in on this piece of pattern paper. I didn't like how it looks, so I'm just going to use the paper behind my watercolor paper because I really loved the different blend of colors on this piece of pattern paper. The orange slices I glued down directly onto the panel, and I stamped Squeeze the Day. The lemons I'm propping up with some foam dots. I'm using the pink twine this time to add a bow beneath my fruit. I love this bright pink against the green background. And then I can trim off the ends of the bow. I'm adding a few of the yellow sequins from this kit onto my panel. And I just adhered that right onto the patterned paper with some dot liner. And that completes this card. I really love how it turned out. I didn't think I was going to get here, but I made it in the end. Okay, this is my last card, and I'm going to use this darling watermelon stamp. This one turns out to be my favorite stamp of the whole set, which surprised me because usually I'm a strawberry person or a lemon person, but I just loved this cute little watermelon. I am going to stamp it up a few times, but I just wanted to show you how easy it was to stamp using the solid stamp to color it in. To do the rind, I'm using a light green as well as a dark green, just to get a little more dimension into it. And then I couldn't decide if I wanted my sentiment to be red or black. So I'm cutting them both out with one of the dies from this kit. And this sentiment says "one in a melon." And then I'm just going to run it through my little Sidekick die cut machine. That looks so cute, the little faux stitching detail on that. And then here is the black one. I love this little machine. It's so handy to have at the side of your desk. Now I'm going to pick out another piece of pattern paper. And I really loved this blue with the white dot circles on it. So I'm using a faux stitched die to cut out the center of it. I'm going to make my card base a top folding portrait card. I usually make my card bases as I go along. I guess I should have a stash of them, but I never get to it. Do you guys like to have a stash of card bases, or do you make them up as you go along as well? Okay, and then I want, let's see, what am I doing here? I forget already. Oh, yeah, okay. I want to die cut the little hearts. These little die cut hearts have cute shapes to them. I really love them. I'm going to just tape them in place so they don't shift when I cut them out. And it sticks to the paper. Having a little bit of trouble today. But you got to keep going. It's all fun. And that way they will match the red of the watermelon perfectly. And here they are. So cute. Now I'm going to start putting my card together. I just love this green lime colored paper. I'm going to have to get more of it for my craft room. So I'm using that behind the blue pattern paper. And I'm going to put my sentiment right in the middle with a foam square. Now I just got to figure out how I want to arrange my watermelon. First, I was thinking I would do something like this. But I just kept fussing with it. I didn't like that particularly. So this is how they end up. I just glued them flat onto my panel. And then I end up using all three of the hearts. I thought they looked so cute. And I'm just going to adhere those just like sequins across the panel. And that finishes off my last card. Well, this was another fun card kit from Pink and Main. I'm waiting to get my September card kit in the mail. I'm so excited for that one. I hope you enjoyed my video and got some inspiration from it. And I hope you get a chance to sit down today and create something awesome. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.